but here's the gig that's going on as well. Everyone should go to that. And it was quite a hard one to sort of do because obviously the Prime Minister hadn't said everyone needs to close down until quite late. So there were pubs open who can't afford to stop because they wouldn't, they haven't been given an official order to stop. So they were still trying to get people in, but it was obviously unsafe to get people in. So you can see how it puts lots of like businesses in a bit of an awkward position. And luckily, I wasn't in that. I'm not in the position where I've got 50 people who work for me that I've got to cover their wages. So I just made a decision quite early and said, yeah, we're going to be closed for the foreseeable future. And I'll see you when there's a vaccine or when things are different. So I went offline, and the last thing I did was that light hustle, and then just waiting to see what happened, and I'm just staying safe, really. And yeah, and it doesn't look very nice out there, does it?
No, it's pretty weird. But like you say, it was quite a while before an official decision was made, so everyone had to kind of just try and think of what was best at the time and try and predict the future, really. But hopefully, hopefully things pick up soon and the situation improves. But yeah, just going back to I'm not from London. How you started things off, like how I want to talk a bit about when you started it, how you got into this kind of industry. When did you start the company?
It was about 2005. I moved. Well, before 2005, I moved up to probably about 2001. I moved to Mansfield from Watford. So I was brought up in Watford, which is as near as London you can get before you get to London.
Yeah.
Hertfordshire. So that's where I was brought up. I was born in Sutton, Nashfield, and my mum and dad moved back there because their parents were getting old, so they moved to be back. They're in Mansfield. We moved back with them, and I wasn't very comfortable really living in Mansfield. I've got some good mates from there and good family there, but when you're not really been brought up somewhere and you move to a little town like that, it's not that easy to make new friends. And I had a few incidents there. It's a bit rough. One day before I was working with my uncle, I was a welder's mate with my uncle John, and I got beaten up in the park, and I was going out with this girl at the time, and I was walking through. There was a few sort of people around me in the park, and they saw us, and they kind of set on us. I couldn't really run away because my girlfriend was there, and she wasn't running away. So they got us on the ground and stamped on me. And the next day, I couldn't even get a hard hat on my head. So I thought this is a good time to get out. And I moved to Nottingham because my sister was going out with a drummer in the band called Punish the Atom, and I really like that band. And me and my sister go to a lot of gigs. And the manager of that band was Anton Lockwood, who is one of the directors at DXP.
All right.
So I got to know him a little bit, and I started working at C Tickets, where a lot of musicians in Nottingham worked. And I started hearing a little bit more about promoters, and it quite intrigued me what they do. It was similar to what I'd done in Watford, which was just like kind of organise lots of mates to go to the pub. So I was kind of doing that. You put bands on. So I did my first gig upstairs in the rescue rooms. Anton gave me the gig, and I got lots of bands who were working with us at C Tickets. So I'd go to one desk and get one band, and another desk and get another, and someone else was helping me do the pictures, and I'd get the pictures printed out as C Tickets, and I'd get all the people who were working at C Tickets doing colour and posters. It was really good fun, and got everyone out, and we had a really good night. And I kind of then I most got addicted to gigs, really. So I wanted to put another on. But it was hard to get gigs in Nottingham, really. It was hard to get regular ones. Anton did me a favour there, but I wasn't a known promoter, and they already had established promoters, and the city wasn't quite as linked up then. It wasn't so wasn't that many people helping each other out with some things. It was a bit more sporadic, and but yeah. Well, when I was at Sea Tickets, someone phoned me up and just said, "Can I speak to your head of promotions?" And there wasn't a promotions department, or well, none that I was aware of. I just sold tickets at Sea Tickets, so I just said, "That's me, yeah, I'm head of promotions." And said, "Oh, we've got this club in Blackpool. We'd like to put some gigs on, and we thought because you guys deal with lots of bands, you could help us out." So the guy who published the album was also in a band called Amusement Parks on Fire, who just got on this NME. They won an NME sort of a kind of competition where they'd gone to America to go to South by Southwest, and there was a little CD that they put out with it. So they were a little bit of a small name. So I dropped that name in and some other bands, and they let me go. And I went up to meet the guy in Blackpool, and he had a club in Blackpool, and above it he had like a flat where there was like a kitchen and everything. So he said, "Well, you come up here, and you guys can stay here and put gigs on here, and I'll pay you." So that was really lucky. And all the bands I knew in Nottingham, they were fine for Nottingham gigs because they already had established promoters, but a lot of them couldn't get anywhere out of town. So I gave them those gigs out of town with a lot of bands who were doing quite well locally. And on the back of that, they played for me in Nottingham. And that kind of, I suppose that was my end really. And that was what I could give the band. I'd give bands good, fun gigs out of town. And on the back of that, they played for me in Notts. And I've been doing it 15 years. And it was I really like doing it. It's and it's as much about community as it is about music for me, really. And that's what I quite like about Nottingham, the way that everything's kind of linked, and you can sort of use that close knitness as a force to do lots of really cool stuff that you maybe couldn't do in a bigger city. Yeah, yeah, like fake it till you make it, and I was, I worked very hard at it, and I was really, uh, but I was really busy. But they say like if you want something done, ask a busy person to do it, and so I was very good at managing lots of projects. But to me, I wasn't doing anything else apart from working at Sea Tickets. I hadn't gone to university or anything, so this was something where I really felt I belonged, and it was something I wanted to do. Yeah, I started writing songs about the same time as I started putting gigs on. Well, I've written songs for a long time before, but I started feeling like I was going to have a band a bit more. But then at the same time, because I was meeting all the people again with See Tickets that I would have probably been in a band with, like Jimmy Arundel and those guys, and the gigs kind of took off, and that kind of, and then after a while, I didn't have any time to play in a band, and also all of my mates were so good at music, I wouldn't want to, if I was going to play somewhere, I'd play somewhere way out of town, where no one knew us, because you wouldn't get a real honest opinion anyway. But by then, I was having fun more watching the gigs and putting the gigs on. That was kind of like my buzz, and I felt that was my bit, my contribution to it.
Yeah. What's your kind of musical inspiration like? Did you kind of grow up with a certain taste in music, or is it something that you've kind of found changed over time, or what?
Yeah, like I've always liked punk music, and I used to, and New York stuff and American stuff. I really quite like. You can read a lot of Bukowski books, and then I'd always think that Tom Waits went really well with that. Read Bukowski and listen to Tom Waits. They're almost like the same people. And New York and Lou Reed, all the stuff like the CBGBs, New York Dolls, that sort of stuff. I really like Iggy Pop. Iggy Pop's like, what music that I'll end up listening to mostly if I'm just a loose end, listen to a lot of the Stooges. So that sort of stuff really inspired us when I was playing guitar. My family's kind of like an Irish background, so we go to a lot of there would be Irish music and things in the house, and those kind of parties that were happening, like the Pogues. So yeah, kind of punky and folky sort of things I listen to mostly, I suppose.
Yeah, that's cool. I guess that kind of runs into the sort of gigs and stuff that you put on, really. Like, how would you describe, the sort of gigs and stuff you program and the sort of music that you put out to someone that's not familiar with? I'm not from London.
Anyone's got a love of guitars, they probably like my gigs. I tend to put a lot of more garage rock is something I really like, and psychedelic sort of rock. Then I'll put some like indie bands on. We did used to do some open mic sort of nights, and I do a night called Wire and Wool. So I've got the label, which is I'm not from London, and I've got Wire and Wool, which are more acousticy, bluesy kind of based, acoustic Americana type acts, as opposed to London, which is more louder guitars. So I do a lot of those sort of gigs. So it's maybe anything that's got guitars in, I generally like. And we've got a night called I'm Not From Brooklyn, because I like a lot of hip hop. It's kind of punky as well. So punky, garage rocky, hip hop, and indie. That's kind of the main of the stuff I do.
Nice. Do you think Nottingham's got something, unique musically? Do you think it's got something that you can define? What is it that you think's good here musically?
I think the way that everyone kind of can mix with each other is quite good. There's so many little scenes, and they're all interlinked. So there'll be like there'll be a cellist who can play in sort of 3 or 4 different bands in Nottingham. And I guess that happens everywhere, but everyone will know the person who they are. I think the networks are quite established now. So if someone needs something or someone needs someone, I think it's a lot quicker to be able to get people. For instance, having Confetti, you've got so many producers, haven't you? Like that come out every year. You're never going to be stuck for a producer or a sound tech in Nottingham, or a master, or someone who's got a studio. That's not a problem to find people like that, or a lead guitarist. I mean, drummers and bassists, they're still the ones that I get asked for. A bassist and drummer, and then when you've got a good bassist, they tend to be in about 3 or 4 bands before they settle. Same as drummers, but I think there's just lots of different types of bands, and they're just all really easily accessible. And I think people are a lot open-minded to jumping into different sort of genres. They don't so much define themselves by the one type of music, and they can give it a go and try different bands out quite easily. I think in Nottingham.
Yeah.
Maybe just because it's such a small city. It's not. Maybe some places like Manchester or London, it's probably quite a big commitment to be in the one band, but just geographically, because it'd be quite expensive to get to the other part. Whereas in Nottingham, most things are kind of city based, and most music and studios are all near each other. So if you're in the city, you can be in different bands. Wait a while till one of them takes off before you commit. But I think that gives a lot of people a lot of different, lot of grounding and a lot of different styles and experience that they can get quite young.
Do you have a lot of people that you work with regularly? You're talking about people like sound engineers or master engineers. Are there people that you use kind of consistently or work with a lot?
Yeah. We've got Matt Thomas, who been my sound man longest serving. He's been like 15 years. He's been working with us. Recently, like last year or this year, he's got taken on by Rough Trade full time. But I'd always go for Matt first up because he's so good, and he never gets phased by anything. He's really relaxed, and just he's been in that many gigs that nothing shocks him. I've got Luca Martello, who's one of our masterers. He does a lot of. He's our official master. He's got a mastering studio. I quite like it that he's got his own. He's just specifically does mastering. Like there's a lot of producers who'll say, oh, "I'll do a bit of producing, a bit of mastering," but he won't be. Like, I won't do producing. I'm just doing mastering. Which I quite like that discipline, that dedication to the discipline. Because I think sometimes you need someone else. If you're doing an album or you're recording, if you produced it and you're going to master it, you're a bit of a conflict of interest really, because you'll just like everything that you've done. Whereas I think a master can choose, oh, you need to get rid of this, this, and this. So it's good to have a different pair of ears. But yeah, we always use Luca.
What's the studio called? Just
it's Orchard Mastering. Let's just try and find it. I'll just find that for you. Because we have him under the I'm Not From London. He's our official I'm Not From London sort of master. So he's just part of our group, but he has his own studio, which is. Let's bring it up.
Yeah, you better make sure you plug in properly.
Wait.
Why have you stopped cycling, by the way?
Major Oak Studio.
Okay, cool.
A Major Oak Studio, yeah. He's really good. He works with lots of different people. He's very professional.
That's cool.
He was just about to go back to Italy because he's from northern Italy. So he's just about to go there before everything was happening. He said he bought a ticket. So like, mad, you're not going to go back there, are you? He said, well, I've got a ticket now. But luckily he didn't go there because he'd still be there. And it was like the worst hit area in Italy, wasn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Lovely guy. So yeah, work with them, and then we've got like regular venues. So do lots of stuff. Fishygate, not Fishygate. We do stuff at the Angel and the Golden Fleece. That's where I've got my sort of residency. So Fuzzbox at the Angel, and then I'll do every sort of like second and maybe fourth Saturday at the Fleece when it's back on. Do stuff at So Bar. We'll do our Wire and Wall nights there. So they're kind of our resident venues, and then we'll do different sort of nights at different places depending on what the night is. If it's like a launch night, we might do something at Rough Trade or Bodega. If it's a big thing, we might use Rescue Rooms, although not that much. But we used to use the Maze all the time. That was an amazing venue. So there's a bit of a shortage of venues in Nottingham, and hopefully this virus won't wipe out a lot of the independent places. We do a lot of stuff at Chameleon, a really good place, really good independent. So I'm hoping the government supports these venues and stops them from collapsing, like with the lack of trade that's going to be there for a long time.
Yeah, I think, hopefully it will highlight the fact that those things are so important, and they've been put under strain, and hopefully it might remind people how important this kind of thing is to people and the industry staying alive. But on that topic, actually, have there been venues that you used to put gigs on that have gone, and like, are there any memories that you kind of remember of good venues that have closed and stuff?
The Maze was my favourite because, I mean, like I said, I did my first gig at Rescue Rooms, but it was the Maze that really nurtured me. It was the Maze where I did lots and lots of my first gigs, my second, third, and I worked there for a few years, putting nights on, working with Ben and Gaz. They were really like, when I say nurture, they were really well nurturing sort of venue owners who, get sort of like us as promoters, was us and Farmyard, Parisa with Acoustical, Christy, when she for the Metronome, she was like doing her first nights there. So a lot of us really kind of cut our teeth at the Maze, and it was a really nice place to sort of just hang out. It was a real community hub, and such a shame when that went. But when you have a venue like that, you've really got it's a lifestyle as much as anything. So Gaz and Steph must have had that come up to 15 years as well. And because it's just out of town, it's on the way in from when you walk into Sherwood at the top of Mansfield Road. I think it just kind of suffered from that little kind of lazy sort of town-centric sort of view that we all did. Because people like going into town and they won't want to walk up the hill to the Maze because they're settled in town. So everything's kind of based around Hockley, isn't it? Really. So I think it suffered a little bit from that. But also that I just don't think you can they'd also be getting charged business rates, so they're getting charged the same rates as someone in the Hockley League would have, but they wouldn't be having the same sort of trade. So that was tough on them, but fair play to them for lasting as long as they did. It's kind of to the benefit really that they did go when they did, because Gaz got really ill just after finishing everything. He got like a kidney sort of failure and pneumonia. And then so that would have really, him doing the gigs every night and having to stay up like till 3 or 4 every morning and chucking people out would have really had a negative effect on him. And then coupled with this happening, so he got out the best time he could have done really, because if he'd have kept going, the business would have folded and his health wasn't in a good position. So he's a lot healthier now, and he's staying safe. So big up, guys.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like you say, it's the lifestyle and all that kind of stuff. It's a big deal, especially when you're living in the venue and, like you say, late nights. It all takes its toll, and definitely that's the most important thing is maintaining your health and making sure you can.
And now you don't have to worry about the minutiae of like running a venue, and he works Fox and Grapes and does stuff at the new place, the Castle Rock. Where's that? The old Coal Store. So he's doing really good stuff there, putting on lots of gigs. So we had a couple of nights there. We did our Caribou Club there and put on Fresh Elemental. It was really good place. So he can kind of run a lot of the calendar there, but he doesn't have to have the stress of actually running the venue. He can go home at the end of the night. So I think that's really good for him.
Not sure
that's a new place.
Yeah, not everyone's really able to do that. It's a very difficult, stressful job, isn't it? I know, I'd struggle with living on site and doing all that stuff. It's a bit of a mad one. So big up to him.
It's definitely a lifestyle. I don't think it's something to be just taken lightly. Running a music venue, you're always constantly on it. Like Ben, he's got a few sort of venues and he's always working. I think even he's got this time off, he'll be doing DIY and fixing up the rooms, and there's always more work to do, and that's where the pub's empty. So it's a real sort of lifestyle, isn't it? There's never no stop to work. And the same with promotion, really. If there's one person in the world that doesn't know about your gig, then there's more work to do. There's always more people you can get to come to your nights. So it's a bit of a scary time, really, with what's happening now. I'm not sure when the nights are going to come back. I mean, I think there's a lot of promoters moving things to October, but I can see that being really busy anyway with just the bands that were already booked to play in October, never mind the people who've shifted their summer focus up to October. I can see October being a great gig, for a great night month for going out, but you're also not sure whether or not there'll be another lockdown or another.
Yeah, and plus, all of the, like you say, there'll be like a backlog, and it'll just be like there's so much going on at one point when the quarantine's lifted that it'll just be crazy because everyone's going to be trying to get out there as soon as possible. It will be really cool because obviously I think people are going to need it, but it'll be a weird time and quite difficult to kind of get your nights in somewhere really because everyone's going to be swamped and stuff, aren't they?
That's it. I'm sort of just waiting to see what's happened. I won't want to I'm kind of enjoying the calm of not having loads and loads of nights to do all the time. So I don't want to stress myself out in this time by putting something on that might get cancelled anyway. So
definitely. Talking about an audience and like you say, always trying to kind of get new people on board and stuff. Like, how have you built your kind of following for the gigs and stuff? How's that happened over the years? And do you think you've got a particular demographic, or what do you think in terms of audience?
When I first started, it was literally my friends and peers who'd be coming out, people I worked with, and then as the team grew a little bit, that brought in different sort of friendship groups and different ages. When I had two partners with Patrick Cannon, who was helping me on the business side of things, and he also worked at the Contemporary, and there was Miles Clark, who was in the first band I signed, Captain Dangerous. So we bring different crowds in through there because we're all different ages. as it's kind of gone on, when we started with them, we started taking on interns uh, and apprentices. So we had Darren Blair, he worked with us for a year, and then lots of other interns. We have kind of a program of interns that we work with, confetti. So we'll take people on for like 6 months to a year if they want, if they want to do more. Where we'll find out what type of thing they want to be involved in, and then we'll put them in those kind of areas. And that's kind of always helped bringing different people. But mainly, like, I suppose it's the bands, because I've been putting on so many different nights that there is a following, in terms of there's lots of people who will check out what's happening for I'm Not From London. Like, so they're going out, so they'll check out what's happening for I'm Not From London night. But it wouldn't be like, I wouldn't say there's like 300 people will definitely come out for every I'm Not From London night, or one. It'll be, because a lot of the nights are just kind of different different lineups, different types of sort of nights. So there'll be some will appeal to some people, some to others. But the bands, obviously, when I've got 4 bands on, they'll be bringing like a fair chunk of their traffic. So my job is to know which bands are doing well, which bands have haven't played so much in the city that will bring people, and that sort of thing. That's kind of that, and social media, and having a good sort of mailing list, all those sort of things together, and just kind of being able to consistently do things, and roll with things. Like, if you're dealing with 4 bands on a night, there's a good possibility one of them might drop out, and just being able to have a network where you can get someone else in if that happens, which does happen. So that's, I think, just being linked in the city, and just knowing lots of people who are, and kind of having backup plans is a lot of how things keep going, and how the brand is known.
I'm interested to know, have you got any memories of sort of best gigs or moments in your time kind of, promoting, and also bad, memories or difficult moments that, you can remember?
Fair few bad. Not as many. I've got a few bad. I've got lots of good nights. All of them are good nights. I mean, I really like the buzz of things coming together, and I think the biggest buzz I've had of a project coming together were probably like the first of things. Like the first waterfront that we did. That was really good. And then we all met up the next day, like all the team, and then we all sort of clapped when we all like, met each other, and those sort of feelings of, oh, we pulled it off, and when me and James put the Invisible Orchestra on the Masonic Hall, and we did that with Hannah as well from the waterfront. That was a really good feeling, because we hadn't gone into that place before. The Albert Hall. We hadn't done anything in there before, so there was lots of issues, like bringing the sound system and the kind of orchestra that was backing up, and knowing if we were going to sell the tickets. And there was things on the night where, like, they told us the band everyone who watched them had to kind of sit down, and obviously that wasn't going to happen. But we did it all, and it was like it was a really good feeling the next day. I remember feeling like James was saying the same sort of thing. That feeling of you kind of got that high, and next day you're almost like a little bit like depressed, because you've got nothing massively big coming up that you need to struggle to achieve. So you kind of get a little bit of you kind of want to outdo yourself each time. Those sort of feelings when you pull something off that seems really impossible, they're the best sort of things. Again, like talking about first one, probably me and Myrtle worked with a good mate, Andy Clydesdale, put on the Mansfield Montage years ago. We did an all-day up Mansfield Road, and we'd have like the Orange Tree, Rose of England, Fleece, Nag's Head, the Loft that was there, and the Maze, and we ended up having a big sort of wrestling night in there, where I was living at 29 Forest Road, in kind of like a bit of a kind of squat type house, and we pulled all the mattresses down. And I bought a boxing ring, but then he told us a week before that we just had the ropes. I got it really cheap, but then they didn't have any that would, any of the stage. So like, what we're going to do? We build it all as having a big Mexican wrestling thing at the end. So the ropes were all tied together, so it was like a big circular rope or a square. So, and we had the pads that would normally get tied to the side of it. So we got my friends we had the canvas. So we put the mattress down as soon as the band finished, pull the canvas over the mattresses, and then my friends all stood back with the pads. So there was 4 of them. So that made the sort of ring. And then we got university students who were doing a fashion course to make us like cat suits. And me and mate Nate, whose birthday it was, who would be celebrating for like 3 days. And we had a big Mexican wrestling match, big fight that day. And then someone else who was this massive guy, like a wrestler, who was playing in the band before, called Copter, came down with this sort of wrestling match. So we put him in there, and he came in and just beat the shit out of us at the end of the night. Just threw us around everywhere, and then everyone jumped in. It was really, really funny. Those sort of nights, like the messy, sort of chaotic ones, when the next day you were, wow, what happened that night? They were the best. And then worst again, like some times when you step out of your comfort zone a little bit, it can kind of backfire. We put on this kind of it was a kind of bit of grime and some dubstep. We put on a night down at Templars, Stepping Lightly, it was called. So I got, I like promoting anyway, and I thought I like hip hop, and I went kind of put this night on, but a load of trouble happened. So people, it got all got a bit messy, and I'd gone next door to get some change, and when I came back, there was riot. There was like horses with policemen on top of them. Policemen got bottled. There was a helicopter flying above the place, and it was on. The internet said, please describe it as a war zone, just because everything just started kicking off. My friend, mate Jez, who's working, we said, successful night, we're going to do this again. I was like, wow, let's get out of there, And then he did another night like that at Templars, where we put on a night, but they not Templars, at the Sky Club, Blueprint. And they double booked it. They double booked my night, which was like a kind of an indie rock night, with this electronic night, and they were cool promoters as well, the electronic guys. But it brought it, some of the guys from around the area came in, like this thing they didn't really like it. They started causing a bit of trouble, and some fights broke out. I'd like not long moved up from Mansfield anyway, but I kind of could see this sort of thing happening. My friends from Mansfield came in and were dancing with us, and then this guy kind of danced with his bottle or his can like that, and threw it in my face. So I automatically pushed like that, and as soon as he did that, everyone was kind of on us. So they got us down, but jumped out, went out the side door, and went to get the bouncers to go in. I said, what's happened? I said, look, it's all kicking off up there. And he said, oh, I don't think you should go up there and start anything. I said, no, nor do I. This is why you're going to go up there and drag them out. And there was a band who had got chased outside and got a screwdriver on his back and his bleed. So I brought everyone into the place. There was a car getting set on fire outside. So I got everyone inside, and we said, we'll just get everyone taxis back, because no one's going to walk back from here. So that was like, one of the, that was probably in my first year.
Yeah,
that's one a lot of people remember. But thankfully, nothing's ever that bad has happened since. I've had some sort of hairy situations, but that was the most intense.
They all go down in history. It's all a good story to tell, isn't it? Yeah, I was going to say, if you could, people see your amazing outfit. How did you were talking about Trish and Ian. How did you get involved with them? When did you first meet them?
The Loft House. So we used to go to the Loft House quite a bit, and Phil Taylor.
Yeah.
Phil Sound Man at the Angel, and Albert's and lots of other places. So him and Jay, they approached us to say, would I'm Not From London like to be partnered with the studio, with a recording studio. So I went and checked it out, and so that became I'm Not From London Studios. But the half of it, so I'm Not From London Studios was upstairs, the Loft House was there, and we were on the back of the Loft House, so we were joined in. So we were kind of co-renting really, or Trish and Ian were subletting to us. So they'd have their sort of projects where they'd have shows and workshops and also a bar, and then through there we'd have our studio. So, and I kind of knew them before from the Vintage Warehouse. I went and interviewed them once for Left Lion, and the Vintage Warehouse was an amazing sort of project. So we've kind of stayed friends since then, and then they got the Loft House. The Loft House was quite a hard place to have a studio because, and same, it was quite a hard place for Ian and Trish to have a venue as well, because downstairs they had a yoga, studio that wanted
not made for music, really.
Yeah, complete silence, in the middle of a city centre, and then above it, we've got the Elements studio, who were recording lots of stuff, are really sound people, but probably, they don't want a nightclub underneath them. So trying to kind of work those two calendars was a bit difficult. And then also our studio, we'd have to go through people's workshops to get to the studio. So it wasn't ideal for any of us. So we all moved out of that. And then Trish was looking for a place to work after the Loft House. So I said, "Oh, wouldn't you come and share with us at Carbon Chambers?" So we worked we're good friends anyway, but we started working a lot more together on projects. She'd involved me with things like, so I'm not put out the Circle of Light project, and we've kind of been working together ever since, really. And then the new thing happening now with Fishygate Point is our next the next project that's hopefully will this time next year we'll be multi-millionaires.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, City Beat's going to be based there as well, so it's a really exciting project. Maybe we can talk a bit more about that. I mean, obviously that's going to be your probably major focus for the next bit of time. What's your kind of future plans? Do you want to just keep doing more gigs and that kind of stuff? Have you got anything in the pipeline you want to talk about?
I think the way I'll have to, evolve is, as a promoter, I've always known the best thing you need is really a venue. It's one thing doing things on tickets or a percentage of the bar or a budget that the bar gives you, but it's another thing when you've got the beer. If you can sell the beer, then you've got a little bit of another income stream. If perhaps you don't sell as many tickets and things like this, there's loss leaders you can do. You can afford to pay the bands a little bit more because you've got the beer. So I've kind of always been interested in that. Well, for the last few years, and working with venues, it's been really interesting just to see how these sort of dynamics work. So that sort of thing I'm wanting to focus on a little bit more like having a venue and helping other promoters as well, like people like the Maze did with me. So if there's new promoters who are fledgling, starting out and need a venue, but they don't quite know what they need to be doing, then it'd be quite nice that I can give them a bit of benefit of my experience, and I'm not really competing with them because they're doing stuff in the venue, and all my peers as well, all the other people I know that put nights on. Now I don't have to be putting on as many nights as I used to. I can just maybe focus on ones that are bigger for me, or maybe not really brand appropriate, and I can be working on helping other promoters, because I really like working with different people. But people can help with other promoters put on stuff at our venue. So that's really exciting for me. And then other things like some of the community projects that we're working with Trish, writing those sort of things are giving me a lot of energy. I'm getting really excited about putting together. We're doing a fashion show this year. Me and Ian have been successful at getting funding for. So that's something we obviously, like with the coronavirus happening, we can't do for a while, but it's another project that we really want to get stuck into. And I've done that sort of thing before. We've done a big fashion show where we raised lots of money for framework, and we used it out of recyclable materials. So everything came off the street, and it went benefit people who are living on the street. So that's another sort of project I'm looking forward to doing. And because we've got a space, it's multifunctional. I've been last year or 2 or 3, I've been helping artists, like Maximilian, who does all this kind of like surreal art and does lots of stuff with holograms and lights. So I've been kind of putting music on to complement his art for exhibitions, and we were doing stuff at Wolf's Italian Food, where we get different artists who are doing an exhibition, and I'd put on music to complement it. So now we've got a venue that can be an you know, and sort of an art exhibition sort of venue. Like that's really exciting. So we can put films on, we can put exhibitions on. Just to kind of just for someone like me who's say easily distracted, it's a great thing to kind of focus your energies on, and it means that I can kind of for the different projects I can kind of take them on for a bit and then can move on to another thing. There's so much stuff happening, and it's a good team.
Yeah, and it's an amazing space, and like you say, there'll be loads of different kind of creative stuff going on. So I think they'll just be it'll be inspiring for a lot of people that come there and work out there and stuff. So yeah, it's exciting times.
Thing for you with the City Beach, like you've got now loads of different guests you can have on, because there's going to be so many different people coming into that space, and like the ideas we can have about the radio show being constantly played in the venue, and everyone working together. It's like it's just kind of, it's a nice build on all the disciplines that we work with, like especially me kind of growing up as a promoter in the maze, and that's the way they did things. Trish and Ian, and that's the way they've always done things, like working with the sort of community projects, and having the fashion centre and having the clubs. It's a real extension. You've got people like Lucas Navani with Wig Flex and bringing all that side in, and the sort of club and the dance nights happening. So it's quite exciting things that could happen. So
yeah, and it brings it all together, doesn't it? And it's like, we'll all kind of find things going on around us that we're interested in that might not have come across, or that just happens to be there in the venue. And yeah, it's just like helping each other kind of do stuff without, we're all doing our own thing, but it's all there and can kind of cross pollinate. I think that's like really positive.
It's not really just a pub either. It's not just like a venue, because there's already those things in town. It's not really like competing with stuff that's out there, but we are going to be a community space. Lots of things, all the things that entails.
Yeah, that's what it needs, really. Have you got anyone? I think probably like wrap it up soon, if that's cool. Have you got anything you want to talk about, or any local artists, things like that you want to big up, or things you want to let people know about?
It's just some of the things that happened. Maybe like we did the online thing, the online festival we had, the Light Hustle, went really well. So we're thinking about doing something else in May, but be interested in getting not so many just singer-songwriters, but it's quite hard to have bands do something in isolation. I think the only way they'll be able to do it, because there's always a time lag when you're recording. So if you can have like a bassist and a guitarist, they could pre-record their sets, but have it so like then the lead singer or the front person could do live, but have pre-recorded things. That's something we'd like to be incorporating in the next festival that's coming up in May. So
wow,
people have got,
don't want to be the tech guy on that one.
Pardon?
I said I wouldn't want to be the tech guy on that one.
Well, Lewis and his team been really good at like live streaming things, but that's the next challenge to do. So that might be happening in May. We've just done the release for Unknown Era, so we've still got a few vinyls left, but we were successful in the launch campaign to sell 100. So I bought a couple of extras, but that's going to be released in June. So keep an eye on that. Unknown Era. That's Gaz again from the Maze, and Kane and all that, and Molluska. So check out those guys. Keep your eyes peeled for some more Caribou stuff. Big up to Bras Not Bombs.
Yeah.
And keep the music going. And if people want to get in touch with us about bands, about gigs, then I'll probably be looking at something like October onwards, from when I'm starting doing live gigs again. We've got the Waterfront Festival coming up. So that was going to be in July. So we're not sure when we'll do that. It's going to be this year or next year, but that's going to be our 10th year. So that's a big thing for us. So we'll make that quite special. But yeah, just keep in touch and send me all your music.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sounds great, man. Well, I'm sure we'll be catching up soon as lockdown's over. It'll be nice for us to catch up with everyone who's going to be in the venue and stuff, and start the exciting kind of process of getting things launched there. So yeah, looking forward to it. I hope you I'm sure you're going to keep things ticking over during lockdown, but keep us updated with what's going on. We'll always happily promote it.
Just play you out a little song if you like.
Yeah, do it.
Do you know? Can you sing? Can you sing with us?
What, me?
Can you talk in a northern accent?
I can try and probably offend all my northern friends if you want.
Talk in a Yorkshire accent and tell us a little bit about City Beats.
Well, City Beat is a community radio station from Nottingham, not from Leeds or Manchester. I can't. I've got friends in Leeds who will literally kill me for this. Yeah, City Beat. We've been broadcasting for a year and a half or so. We're here to support independent artists in Nottingham, similar to what you're doing really well. And I'm going to be basically talking to people over the next few weeks, trying to showcase music-related independent businesses, things like that, that's going on in Nottingham. So Will, you were the first one. Big up for doing it. And keep it locked on City Beat. We're going to be based at Fishergate Point, which is where you guys are going to be based, and keep your eye out for that stuff. And I think there's quite a lot of exciting stuff in the future once we're all allowed to leave the house.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
Cheers.
Cheers. Keep up the cycling, yeah?
I'll get back now.
Nice one, Will.
Much.
Take it easy, man.
See you later.
See ya.
See ya.